The day my husband married my sister. I stood outside the church, watching from a distance. The man who once promised to love me forever was now putting a ring on my sister's finger. And the worst part, they didn't even try to hide the truth. My parents had paid him to marry her. Yes, you heard that right. My own family paid my husband to replace me with my sister. That day, I walked away with nothing. No husband. No family. No home. But 3 years later, I came back, and when they saw who I had become, they were completely speechless. My name is Emily Carter, and 3 years ago I thought I had the perfect life. I had a loving husband named Daniel. We had been married for 4 years, and although we weren't rich, we were happy. At least, that's what I believed. Daniel always told me, "Emily, we don't need money. As long as we have each other, we'll be fine." And I believed him. Because when you truly love someone, you trust every word they say. But what I didn't know was that behind my back, a deal was being made. A deal that would destroy my life. My younger sister, Sophia, was the complete opposite of me. She was beautiful, confident, and always the center of attention. Growing up, my parents adored her. If Sophia wanted something, she got it. If I wanted something, I was told to be patient. But I never complained, because she was my sister, and I loved her. What I didn't know was that she had been jealous of me for years. Jealous of my life. Jealous of my husband. It started when Daniel lost his job. Suddenly, our small, stable life started falling apart. Bills piled up. Rent became difficult. And stress filled our home. That's when my parents started visiting more often. At the time, I thought they were just helping. But later I realized they were watching, evaluating, planning. One night, while I was working late, my parents invited Daniel to dinner. Sophia was there too. And that dinner changed everything. Later I learned what happened that night. My father made Daniel an offer. A cold, calculated offer. He told Daniel, "If you divorce Emily and marry Sophia, I will give you $200,000 and help you start your own business." Daniel laughed at first. But my father didn't. And neither did Sophia. They were serious. Daniel hesitated. But my father continued. "Think about it. Emily has nothing. She can't give you a future." Then Sophia said something that sealed the deal. "I've always liked you, Daniel." Silence filled the room. And slowly, Daniel began to think. Money. Success. A beautiful woman. Everything he thought he deserved. All he had to do was betray me. 2 weeks later, Daniel came home looking nervous. He sat me down at the kitchen table. "Emily, we need to talk." Those 4 words always mean trouble. He told me our marriage wasn't working. He said he needed space. He said he needed a different life. But the worst moment came when I asked, "Is there someone else?" He looked down and whispered, "Yes." When he told me who it was, my heart stopped. My sister. I thought it was a sick joke. But it was. The divorce happened fast. Too fast. Within 2 months, Daniel and Sophia were engaged. My parents supported them completely. They even paid for a huge wedding. I wasn't invited, but I still went. I stood outside the church, hidden behind a tree, and I watched the man I loved marry my sister. That moment broke something inside me, but it also created something new. A promise. I whispered to myself, "One day, you will regret this." And then I left town. The next 3 years were the hardest of my life. At first, I had nothing. I slept in a tiny apartment, worked 2 jobs, cried almost every night. But pain can do 2 things to a person. It can destroy you, or it can transform you. I chose transformation. I went back to school, learned digital marketing, started a small online business. At first, it barely made money. But slowly, things changed. One client became 5. 5 became 20. And before I realized it, my business exploded. Within 3 years, I had built a multi-million-dollar company. One morning, I looked at myself in the mirror. I was no longer the broken woman who left town. I was stronger, smarter, and successful. That's when I decided it was time to go home. Not for revenge, but for closure. When I arrived in my hometown, people barely recognized me. I drove a luxury car, owned multiple businesses, and carried a confidence I never had before. But the real moment came when I walked into my parents' house. The living room went silent. My mother dropped the glass she was holding. My father stared at me in disbelief. Sophia froze. And Daniel looked like he had seen a ghost. "Emily," he whispered. I smiled. "Yes, it's been a while." Sophia's face turned pale. You look different." "I am different." Then Daniel stepped forward. "I've been trying to contact you." I laughed. "Really? Why?" That's when the truth came out. Sophia and Daniel's marriage had failed. The business my father promised Daniel collapsed. The money was gone. They were drowning in debt. And now, Daniel wanted me back. He said he had made a mistake. He said he still loved me. But this time, I was the one laughing. I looked him directly in the eyes and said, "You didn't choose love 3 years ago. You chose money." Then I looked at my parents. "You sold your daughter." The room was silent. Finally, I said the words I had waited years to say. "Thank you." They looked confused. Because if you hadn't betrayed me, I would have never become the woman I am today. I walked out of that house for the last time. Not angry. Not sad. Just free. 3 years ago, they thought they had destroyed my life. But in reality, they gave me the greatest gift possible. A reason to rebuild myself. And as I drove away, I realized something powerful. Sometimes betrayal is the end of your story. Sometimes it's the beginning of your success.